here in the American Airlines Center. We welcome you this Thursday evening. Hoping you're having a good one and are as excited as we are for this one. Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr joining me in the booth. Good evening, everyone. This is Kevin Hart. Here's the starting group for the Indiana Pacers. A tall bunch at 2, 3, and 4, George Granger and West. Roy Hibbert is out there with George Hill. And for Dallas, Dirk and Kaman, they're inside. Collison is out there with Mayo. And it's Marion in at the 3, the small forward.
Looked like they found the soft spot in the defense there. Well, for Chris Kaman, last season was a transition year for him. Traded from the Clippers to New Orleans, and then he was put on the trade block by the Hornets. I'm sure he's glad to leave that uncertainty behind with a more settled situation here.
Dallas on defense. And now Doris Burke has an update from the sidelines.
Well, guys, I was able to talk with Rick Carlisle for just a moment. We talked about David West and what makes him such a tough player to defend. Coach said, West is special because he's so skilled for a player of his size and strength. He can score inside and also spread the floor with his shooting. He can have a quiet night and still drop 20 and 10. So we've got to stay conscious of him at all times. Guys, we'll see how they do against him.
All right, Doris, thanks. And for Kaman, an unrestricted free agent coming into this season.
And that can be an exciting time or a pressure-packed time for a player, depending on how he handles that. It's a chance to go to a team that really wants and needs your talent, identifies you as somebody that could fit in with their group. It shows you just how valued and respected you are around the league when it works out ideally. That's a beautiful jam by a very unlikely source.
Yeah, you don't think of him as a highlight reel type player.
I sure don't.
Could have fooled me with that one, though.
Here's Hill, following the score by Dallas. Hibbert the pass to Hill. And that one's good. Hill's got his first bucket in this one.
That's grace over power, guys. With that finger roll, gets him 2 points. Impressive stuff.
The Mavericks have gone 4 of 4 to start, so a nice offensive rhythm to start here.
Well, you look back at some of the drafts that the Pacers have had and the pieces they've been able to add. They've done a nice job. Roy Hibbert, of course, Paul George. They've really done a good job of developing talent from the draft and making some shrewd moves that have built the foundation for this club.
So after making the first, he goes 1 for 2. But going back to the Pacers, it isn't always easy to build up from the draft if you're not in the top 5 like Oklahoma City. They've been drafting in the top 5, and their 4 best players were taken, between 1 and 5, and so they've accelerated so quickly. But they really have made some.
Oh my goodness! What a huge play!
A little added hang time right there.
Yeah, letting himself down easy, it looks like.
Soft landing.
Yeah, a little better for the knees, so I don't blame him.
And the replay, of course, presented by Sprite. What a play. Collison kicks to Mayo. The 9-foot shot. Hits it. Well done in the second effort.
Excellent job carving out space under the glass to make that putback possible.
Indiana trailing here. And here in the first, about 3 minutes in, Hill kicks to Granger. West. Good work defensively by Nowitzki. That's good.
And all 10 of their last points have come inside the paint, so defensively you've got to make an adjustment.
Yeah, and you got to do a little more to stop it, too. I mean, it's coming way too easy for them. At some points, you just got to buck up and say it's not going to happen.
Hill against Collison. Granger right side. Clock at 4. A second chance effort. West kicks to George. A 3-ball, and it's good. George has got 8 points.
That's all the space he needs, guys. He'll make you pay every time if you give him that shot.
And Dallas calls their first time out of the game. And the Mavericks will go for a different look here. Elton Brand's checked in for Kaman. Jones comes in for Sean Marion. Vince Carter, he's checked in for O.J. Mayo. And Delonte West is subbed in for Darren Collison. So an entirely new group in now for Indiana. Mahimi's checked in for Hibbert. Hansbrough comes in for David West. Green's checked in for George. And DJ Augustine subbed in for George Hill.
throwing it down with one hand and making it look easy.
Easy and fun. He just thrives on making the D look silly.
Yep, which is something he does pretty often, Kevin.
George Hill's checked in for Indiana. Indiana leading. There's 45 seconds left in the first quarter of the game. Mahimi's shot is good.
They are in attack mode right now. That's 10 straight points, guys, all coming inside the paint.
And Steve, if I'm them, I'd keep going right to the heart of that defense like they have been until they do something about it. If they don't offer resistance, take everything you can get in there.
And Augustine kicks to Mahimi. Indiana moving it around. Gets the bucket.
I can imagine they're going to hear an earful about this next stop. I mean, that's 3 straight field goals given up right in the middle of the lane. Inexcusable.
Well, defense starts at the rim. I mean, you want teams shooting the ball from the outside, and that's not happening. They're just giving up everything inside.
Carter against Hill. The dish to Augustine. Plenty of space. And the rebound goes to the Mavericks. Here's West. Got it up. No good trying to beat the buzzer. Oh, we've seen some great shots in the first quarter. No shortage of offense. It's the... And the first quarter is in the books. Second about ready to get underway. And when you consider how the Pacers are doing, Steve and Clark, what do you think?
And that first quarter was all about pace, guys, because this club really got out into transition, and that's how they've built this lead.
They like to play fast, and they're doing a nice job filling the lane.
So with Nowitzki sitting on the bench, here's who Rick Carlisle's going with. Marion is out there with Elton Brand, and there's Carter. Then it's Mayo, and it's Collison at the 1 spot. And Vince Carter picks up a foul. That's his first foul. And the Mavericks making a change here. West is checked in. The Pacers also changing it up. Mahimi comes in for David West. And it's Green in for Danny Granger. Let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burdick. Doris, what do you have?
Well, guys, Pacer-centered Roy Hibbert has trained with Tim Duncan over the last few off-seasons, and they've become friends. They stay in touch, and Duncan even offered him advice and encouragement when the Pacers were in the playoffs. Hibbert said, "I had a roller coaster first 3 years in terms of my career. Tim doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. I model my game after him. He's somebody who looks out for me." Guys, always great to see a star take a young man under his wing.
Hard to think of a better mentor for Roy than the great Tim Duncan. Thanks, Doris.
Now, you're talking about a power surge. That's how you power that thing down.
He went hard to the hoop, Clark, and didn't disappoint when he got there.
No, there's no need to be passive. I mean, you've got to attack. And you have to give the ownership a lot of credit for the Mavs' success over the years, guys. A lot of people may not agree with things he has to say, but you can't argue with the success that he's had. He's spent his money, his resources, he's put a ton of passion and energy into building that franchise, and it's developed into one of the best in the entire league.
You talk about passionate ownership on the sideline, actively involved in crafting the roster and the fan experience. You don't get much better than Dallas. From the top all the way down, it's all about winning and not afraid to push for what's best for the NBA.
And I think he wants the best for his players, too, and that's why, as a player, you've got to love, admire, and respect that. You know that he wants to win just as much as you do, and it's easy to go the extra mile and commit to a team where that's the case coming from ownership.
So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there.
You know, Sean Marion still is an amazing athlete, even in his mid-30s. So quick off his feet, and he can play either the 3 or the 4 position, and versatile defender. Excellent team player.
Tyler Hansbrough.
Oh, man, what a play. Went for the 2-hand throw down there, needed safety and power.
That's how you do it.
Yep. No, nothing fancy, but he finished with force.
The Sprite replay really gave you a good look at the action. And Augustine kicks to Hansbrough. That's good from Augustine. The assist from Hansbrough. Augustine's got 4 points now in the quarter.
There's that transition offense. It's been big for them in this game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, that's what they've had working for them. Speed. They've upped the tempo whenever they've had the chance.
And Rick Carlisle, head coach of the Mavericks, actually coached previously in Detroit and Indiana. And, you know, he won the Coach of the Year in his very first season as a head coach, 2002 with Detroit.
It's Mayo on the wing. And it's going to be out of bounds. The Pacers will take it.
Difficult to explain that turnover. I mean, I guess he thought he had more room than he did, but he really lost his place on the court.
Here's Indiana. They're on a 13-4 run right now. And going back to Rick Carlisle's time in Detroit, he'd gotten them as far as the conference finals in his second season, but was shown the door just prior to their championship year in 2004.
Yeah, the Pistons won the title the next year, so a move that obviously was justified, but a strange move nonetheless. Rick Carlisle had plenty of success, but that's the NBA. Coaches get blamed for everything, and to Carlisle's credit, he just moved on, kept working, and has had tremendous success ever since.
The Mavericks have missed both free throws they've attempted tonight.
And you know, a lot of times, guys, in some of their performances last year, their free throw numbers helped them win games.
Catching up on the changes now for Indiana. West comes in for Tyler Hansbrough. And it's George in for George Hill. That's good from Nowitzki on the assist by Marion. Marion's got 3 assists tonight.
Boy, they were not wasting any time on that fast break.
Well, when it starts with the turnover, that's the best time to get out and run. You can beat the defense down the floor that way.
Augustine, that's good.
They continue to barrel their way inside, and when's the defense going to adjust?
Well, I'm asking the same question myself, partner. I mean, that's 8 points out of their last 10 coming inside.
And I think a big change for the Pacers, and one of the reasons they've become one of the better teams in the East, was the addition of David West. You know, he just brought some leadership that was much needed for a very young Pacers roster.
Looking at who's out there now for the Mavericks. Elton Brand's checked in for Nowitzki. Carter comes in for Sean Marion. And it's Collison in for Delonte West. Here's Carter. Up and in on the layup. Carter's got 4 this quarter. Well, Steve, you talk about leadership. You can't overemphasize how big a difference having a vet can be. And Pacers and David West, that was like a perfect marriage, Clark.
A hand-in-glove fit. West really was the perfect fit for a young, promising, developing team. He's a 2-time All-Star. He brings experience and toughness and leadership. And he helped everybody on the team get to the same page, and they ended up having a great season.
Augustine dishes to Mahinmi. Kicks it to Augustine. Takes a 3. There's the foul. It's on Mahinmi. That's his first foul. Sean Marion is checked in for Dallas. West comes in for O.J. Mayo. Back to Brand. Feeds it to Carter. The pass to Collison. Over Augustine. Collison's shot is good.
That jump shot's like a layup for him when the defense backs off like that.
Pacers leading by 13. Now Augustine, 10 points for him. Misses the step-back jump shot.
You're not doing your team any good forcing a shot like that one.
You know, I agree. He's got to know better than that.
The clock runs out, and we're heading to halftime. Pacers